want to lock our rotating element to our shaft. And you do that by tightening these set screws here. So find you a good Allen wrench, T-wrench. They are metric, so it's good to have a good size of metrics. I try to go across from one another so we can rotate this around. Now go 90 degrees. Get it snug. Now you can see the rotating element is actually spinning with the shaft now. So your rotating element is on this piece here, and your stationary seat is the big stainless block that's mounted below. These are balance seals. It's a cartridge type design. It's not like your standard John Crane where you have separate components. As you saw, it went all in as one. Now you can go ahead and just try tighten these down pretty good. We want a pretty good torque on them. They do bite into the shaft. There's 4 of them. It's not carrying any weight, but there is spring tension that could work them loose. So you want to get a good bite. So now that we have all 4 of them get in there good, we can actually release the spring tension by removing these 4 clips. Again, I mentioned this is a cartridge type seal. It's an all stainless construction seal. It's balanced and it has hardened faces. So it has silicon carbide and stainless construction. So it is very corrosion resistant. These clips actually hold the spring tension while you're setting your seal. So by releasing these clips, see there's little grooves on it. They bite into these little grooves, and with the screw that holds the spring tension. So by removing these clips, we're now going to preload the spring with the correct amount of spring tension. Got one more. It's probably a good idea to keep a set of these clips around. If you ever want to adjust your impellers on the pump, you would have to do just in reverse what we just did. You would need to put your clips back on to hold the seal. Then you would loosen your set screws, and then you'd be able to drop your impellers down or pick them up. And once you had made the change, you would just do in reverse of what, or just do what we just did, where you tighten the set screws and then remove the clips. So we can now put our vent line on and button up the top side of the motor, and this pump is complete. So with the mechanical seal, we also ship some copper tubing, 1/4-inch copper, soft K copper, and you can just, what you do with that is you bend it so that you can run it down into the sump, and you want to bring it into the copper fitting that we put on. So make sure you have your nut, and then the ferrule. It is kind of a little bit of an uphill swing here, so make sure you have it lined up. It's a 1/2-inch wrench once you get it in place. Go ahead and tighten that. And once you get it tightened, the copper is soft, so then you can kind of adjust it, get a nice bend on it. And in the case of these pumps, we're going to have an actual guard that comes in, so the guard will be on each side of it. What this does is it allows the seal to vent. There would be air trapped up in this discharge head, and in particular in the seal area. A mechanical seal needs water or needs lubricant for 2 things. One, it lubricates the seal faces, and the other, it cools it. If this would be trapped with air up here, your mechanical seals would fail, they would run dry, and they would just overheat and burn up. So by running this vent line back, it allows us to vent the air off and actually have a small stream of water coming down, which will keep those internal seal faces well lubricated and cooled. So it's very important to do that. Okay, now that we have our impellers set, our mechanical seal in place, we can go ahead and put the bonnet on. And recently they've started installing these inner guards This particular one is a pot aluminum type, and it does have a particular way it fits. All the rest of these blocks have a bolt next to them, so it is directional. And when you put that in place, it kind of gives support for your bonnet. We have 3 cap screws that holds the bonnet in place. We know that we've already bumped these for rotation, so we don't have to worry about that. If you hadn't bumped it for rotation, it's probably always good to pull your bonnet off and check it from the top side and just make sure that you see it turn. Sometimes just looking at the shaft can be a little deceiving if it's rotating or not. So anyway, that's it.